Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. I am Danielle, aka Stitcherista, here on YouTube, and today is Friday, April 8th. And I have to remember at 12 o'clock, Manny, MUA, who is a really famous YouTuber, he has a makeup line called Lunar Beauty, and I watched one of his videos last night. He is releasing a new eyeshadow palette. His eyeshadow palettes are amazing. And he has like 3 lip oils coming out. I may have to get one of those. We'll see. He'll probably sell out because, yeah, the colors looked amazing. And I like lip oil because it's very moisturizing and stuff. So, today is probably going to be a long video because I didn't do one yesterday. And we're going to talk about what my day was like yesterday. Yeah. So, I'm going to talk about yesterday. I might do a true crime story. Who knows? It could be a cornucopia of things today. I will read both of the entries, though, for the Unfuck Me for the calendar. Okay, so I didn't have any work yesterday. And I'm off today, too, because I will explain. So Wednesday went fine for work, except, man, we have had some difficult witnesses. And I've come to the realization that no one is a good witness because people aren't used to giving depositions. So, yeah, no one is a good witness. So I got done work on Wednesday at a reasonable time. I did do some stitching on Wednesday night. I didn't do any last night, which I will show you. And so, you know, when I'm off on a day, I will normally sit in bed, get some coffee, read my book. I'm not going to do that anymore. I stayed in my bed reading and drinking coffee yesterday until like 10 a.m. Now, that's not a good start to my day because by the time I got up, had to get a shower yesterday, wash my hair. You know, that's always like a huge chore. I got up. I had done my daily chores like laundry. Laundry was in, all that, made tea, all that kind of stuff. Figured out what we were going to do for dinner, what I thought we were going to do for dinner. And then work. So a couple days ago, my boss accepted a job that the witness was Indian. And it was like a true, like, do that night or do the next day kind of job. So I had booked coverage, you know, we had it on the calendar. And yesterday morning, the confirmation comes in. Because how the order of things work is my boss will accept a job through email. I have access to her email. So when I see the job accepted, I then put it on our calendar, book the coverage, all of that. And I watch for... got lipstick on the mug. I watch for the confirmation or the cancellation to come through because jobs do cancel. So my boss has asked me on our days off to not message her or text her before 10 a.m. Okay? Which is 11 a.m. my time. So yesterday was payday, so I always send her a reminder about that. And then the confirmation for the job came in that we were supposed to have today. And it says 9 a.m. Pacific time. I'm like, ooh. I don't think she realized it was Pacific time. She's in Central time zone. I'm in Eastern. Which meant that this job for me was not going to start today until 12 p.m. And most likely was going to go late because it's 9 a.m. where they are. If it went till 5, that means 8 o'clock my time, 7 o'clock her time. So I waited until 11 a.m. and I texted her and I also emailed her. I always email her and text her because sometimes she doesn't look at her phone. FYI, just to let you know that this job is Pacific time. Well, it took her like a good hour and a half or whatever to get back to me. And by this time, I have done all the prep work for the job. I have looked up documents, complaints, patents, all this kind of stuff. I have done like a lot of work on the back end for this job. So now it is approaching like noon. I'm still in pajamas, haven't taken a shower. Bill's birthday present. So, mind you, Bill and I missed our first date anniversary the other day. It was Wednesday. Yeah, it was Wednesday. We've been together for 13 years. And then yesterday was actually the 1-year anniversary of my grandmother's passing. So, yeah, that date will be burned into my brain too, because it's the day after our dating anniversary. It's hard to believe it's been a year since my grandmother has been gone already. I hope if there is a heaven, because none of us know until we're there, I hope that they are having a grand old time with her other siblings that have passed. I hope that is what it is. I really, really do. And that you're like in your best body, right? Because I see old pictures of my grandparents when they were just so young in their 20s and 30s. And man, I would have liked to have sat down and talked to them then at that age. I mean, just to see how they were, because my grandmother was such a beautiful woman. And my grandfather, handsome. I mean, I just see those pictures and I just can't get over that they were ever that young. Because by the time I came along and was cognizant, they were old to me. Do you know what I mean? Anyway, tangent. Bill's birthday, I got him 2 smaller things that I put in gift bags, but his big present, and I want to try to give you the dimensions. I'm going to have to show you, like next Friday, we're celebrating his birthday because my stepdaughter's boyfriend, his birthday's on the same day. So next Friday night, we're going out to dinner, doing cake, doing all of that. Bill wanted guide poles for the trailer for his boat. So guide poles came in this big ass box. I want to say the box is like 3 feet tall, at least. It's probably even taller than that. 4 feet by 3 feet wide. So imagine that, right? And it's heavy. So when the box came, I mean, he knew he was getting it. When the box came, he put it down in the utility room for me. And I'm like, I gotta fucking wrap that motherfucker, because Bill is very funny about presents. Like, he wants it all wrapped. All right. So I purchased 3 rolls of wrapping paper off of Amazon. This big, big bow that says happy birthday. And I'm like, I gotta wrap this. So at noon yesterday, I start wrapping the gift. I want to say it was noon or 1 o'clock. And I did it. It was not easy, and it used 1.5 rolls of wrapping paper. But then I put it back in the utility room and I threw this big blanket over it, because I'm like, if he sees it wrapped, he's going to be pissed. Like, he's going to be like, I don't want to see it before my birthday. Yeah, he's like that. Okay. So I did not get in the shower to even take a shower. Oh, and by the way, in the meantime, when I'm wrapping the gift, my boss messages me and says, did they say specific time from the get-go? And I'm like, I honestly don't remember. She's like, I can't work late tomorrow. My mom's coming in town. My boss lives in Austin. Her mom lives in Houston, which is like a 3-hour drive in Texas. And she's like, I can't work late. So she copies me on an email that she sends the company and is like, do you know how long this is going? I can't work late. I had no idea this was Pacific time. So then I come up here. I finish wrapping the present. I come up here and I look through her emails, because she doesn't delete any emails ever. I look through the original emails, and none of them, until the confirmation to yesterday, said Pacific. They just said 9 a.m. And I'm like, well, then that's something in the future that I need to look at. If it doesn't say a time zone, I need to alert her. Like, what's the time zone? Because it can be any time zone. So long story short there, after I booked all the coverage, did all that, she got out of the job. We don't have a job today. And so I had to delete all of my work that I did, let everybody know we're not having the job. That took like 2 hours out of my day. So by the time I got all of that taken care of and everything done, and I also had wanted to do my nails yesterday, which I did, it was 2 o'clock before I was in the shower. Bill gets home at like 3:10. I said, you know what? There's no way I'm doing a video today. There's no way. Because I still hadn't done my nails. And yeah. So that's why I didn't do a video. I was just like, forget it. I was still downstairs getting ready when he came home from work. Yeah. So I did my nails. Aren't they pretty? Pink glitter. Yeah. These are actually glue-on. These are static nails. So the nails come in a box. I should have got one because I have another set. And the glue over time dissolves with water as you put your hands in water, as you do. So it's not damaging to your nails. And they went on like a champ. Now I had glue all over my fingers, and I'm like, I bought a bottle yesterday of their brush-on glue. I had glue all over my fingers, but you know what? How I got it off, which is I looked up stuff on YouTube. Warm water, and then I took shaving cream, believe it or not, rub it on there, because I mean, I had them on all my fingers because there's no tabs on these nails, and the glue was in like one of those tubes. We'll see how long they stay on, because I mean, they're pretty strong. They're on there. Anyway, and then I took fine grit sandpaper, rubbed my fingers on it. All the glue came off. I couldn't believe it. Now, it took me a little bit of time to do that. But yeah. So, and then yesterday, I remember I'm trying not to buy books. I'm trying to save money where I can save money, right? So I had requested a book from the library. Now, the library that's closest to us is closed for renovations, but they opened up an annex. And I totally forgot about that because I would have requested the book go there. So I requested a book probably way down by our old high school. And I get an email notification that says the book is in. And I'm like, all right, maybe I can convince Bill to drive me down there. And then we can stop on the way back and get dinner just out. And he agreed. So the book that I got is The Fuck It Diet by Caroline Dooner. So this is like an anti-diet book, right? So it says, in The Fuck It Diet, Caroline Dooner tackles the inherent flaws of dieting and diet culture and offers readers a counterintuitively simple path to healing their physical, emotional, and mental relationship with food. So I've just been really curious. She also has another book that I put on hold called Tired as Fuck. So I'm really curious to read that. And once in a while, I like to read a physical book. So this is going to be my next book. I've already started. I've read like the first couple pages. So we went and did that, and we didn't get home until like 6. And then we just relaxed the rest of the night. But I honestly was so tired. By the time Bill went to bed, I went to bed too. I didn't do any stitching. Now, I have stumbled upon a dessert that Bill and I have been loving. I stumbled upon it completely by accident. I had ordered some of my little Hillshire pepperoni stuff, cheese, all of that. Those little like Lunchables for adults, I like to say. And this popped up as like a recommendation. If you can find this in your grocery store and you like cheesecake, it's Philadelphia cheesecake crumble. So it comes in it, which is nice. It comes in a 2-pack because Bill and I. This is like the perfect size dessert. It's not too much. It's not too little. It comes with the cheesecake stuff is on the inside. And it's like, I am not really one for cheesecake. This is like, it's almost like the cheesecake that you would if you buy those Jell-O no-bake things. It's almost like that. It is so good. This, and then it has graham cracker crumbles on the top that it's sealed. So you peel it off and you mix it in. It is so good. It is like our new favorite dessert. So I have been going on Amazon, groceries by Amazon, and ordering them. Like, we just need 7 a week. We need enough to go through every day. Yes, indeedy. So, my thyroid. I got the results yesterday from Advanced Radiology, and I knew my doctor hadn't read them yet because they just put them in the portal. It is enlarged. I do have some nodules. Now, the range of, according to the results, the range of your thyroid is 4 centimeters to 17. Mine's 18. So it is over like that high end, right? So I sent my doctor a message. Now, I knew my doctor was going on vacation next week. But I sent her a message and said, I know you probably haven't looked at these results yet, because Advanced Radiology said, you know, no further, none of them look suspicious. No further ultrasound needs to be done. Unless, you know, your doctor says, or it's medically something's going on, right? So I messaged her because my mom said she responds. My mom has the same doctor as I do. My mom said she responds very quickly to messages in the portal. And I said, hey, you know, I looked at these and it says that they're just nodules. This is what I had years and years ago. But I still want to get the blood work done. I still want to see what my levels are as far as thyroid stuff. I said, so, and let me know, is there something I should be doing? I've already done a lot of research on how you shrink them. They normally don't shrink. Like, they can go away on their own, I guess. But a lot of people, there is an iodine deficiency. Yeah, I've been doing just so much reading on it. So I really want to hear what she says, because I absolutely value her opinion. In my opinion, she's a really good doctor. She will listen. She will talk to you. She will. Yeah. So, it's also something I'm going to mention. I don't see my oncologist until October, but it's something I'm going to mention to him as well, you know, because they want to know, has anything in your medical history changed? So, but yeah, that's where we are right now, and so a doctor did read the results. I got another result thing today, and it said there are nodules present, but nothing suspicious, nothing, you know, out of the, you know, ordinary. I mean, I read a statistic that by the age of 60, 50% of adults will have nodules. My stepfather has them too. So, I'm going to have to wait probably a week until, I mean, I waited this long and didn't do it. I mean, it's been, my God, I was diagnosed with the enlarged one back in like 2007 or 8. And it's been, and I don't have those results though. I don't know. It was so long ago, and I lived in Hagerstown then. But, yeah, so that's where that's at. And, so I'll keep you guys updated, you know, on what my doctor says when she comes back. Okay. So yeah, today we had no job. No other job came in. So Bill and I are having salmon for dinner, which I love salmon, love fish. We're having that for dinner, and it's the weekend. Let's go. No real plans for the weekend. I am going to do our grocery order today though, because I try to get on top of that if I'm off on a Friday. And I'm definitely going to do some stitching. Okay, so stitching. I did no stitching yesterday, like I said, even though that was my plan. I'm still working on Luminous Fiber Arts, Gathering Honey. I absolutely love these one color projects. Okay, there's a better shot. That's pretty accurate. I'm trying to think, you know, it's daylight out. That's pretty accurate on what it looks like. I am using 18 count Aida by Seraphim Fabrics in Stonewashed. And I am using DMC Color Variations in 4128, which is Gold Coast. It's gorgeous. And using one strand over one. Now, yesterday I got done a bit more of the, not yesterday, Wednesday. I got done a bit more of the border, and I started working on the bee. So that's where I'm at. Yeah. Buttons. I'm still undecided about what buttons to use, if I'm even going to use buttons, because if you notice, I stitched the center of the flower. One button goes there, and then there's another flower where a button goes. And mind you, This was stitched, the model was stitched on 32 count. So the size of the button, you gotta take into account your fabric count, right? So, okay, there was that for stitching. I did get some purchases in yesterday. So I got 2 needle minders from the Badge Shack UK, so from the UK. I saw these on Facebook and had to get them, and I think a bunch of people bought them because, and there's glue on my finger. That I just picked off. Yeah, that brush on glue is going to be the ticket though, because it's just so much neater. And I think what I'm going to do, because the nails don't have like tabs, I'm going to hold them with a pair of tweezers. So I don't get glue just, if I'm holding the nail, I'm getting glue all over my fingers. Yeah. All right, so needle minders. This says, I don't need an inspirational quote. What I need is a freaking cup of coffee. And then this one I really like too. I'm not weird. I'm limited edition. I will link this store down below. It's on Etsy. Yeah, Etsy.com. If you look at the bottom. See, Etsy, it's not showing up well. Etsy.com/The Badge Shack UK. But I will link them down below. Then I got my fabric order from Hand Dyed Fabrics by Stephanie. Remember I told you I thought I had all my fabric in from after I sold fabric on eBay, bought new fabric. Nope. This is a fabric order from early January. All 18 count Aida. Woo! Yeah. So this color is Driftwood, which is a beautiful brown. Like those neutrals too. Ooh, this one. Is sold. I don't know how you pronounce that. But look at it. It's showing up lighter in here. It's definitely more purple. It's lilac. It's beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. Jamie's Kilt, which is like gray, and again, it's showing up darker. It's not that dark. It's gray and like pink, and it's showing up kind of green. I'm guessing Jamie from, it could be from Outlander, I guess. Is there a Jamie in Outlander? I was thinking Game of Thrones. This is Jaded, so a beautiful green. Aqua. Jack's Rum. Just what it says, like the color of rum. Like I said, they're showing up, this is showing up lighter. It's a little bit darker than that. Melody, which is my favorite fabric of hers of all time. I have 2 pieces of this. It's got yellow and purple and green and pink, and it's beautiful. This one is Meadow. Love that one. I love all these. Rosewood. A nice neutral. It's actually showing up lighter than it is. It's more like a rose gold color. This one is Seaside. This one I love too, Vintage Tiffany. I really want to stitch something all in black on this. I'll have to think like maybe in ink circles. I know I have an ink circles piece. I have 2 ink circles ones that are all in black. This is just such a gorgeous blue. Something all in black would look fantastic on that. And then finally Ocean's Tide, which is, ooh, I got some fabric, people. I need to take you out there and show you my fabric cart. I have one of those IKEA carts. It's all filled with fabric, all 18 count and 20 count. And this will be the first month, this month, that I am getting my Color and Cotton fabric subscription. So I belong to Fiberlicious for 18 count. I signed up with Color and Cotton for 20 count. I think I did 20 count. And she has like a neutrals and a bright. I'm getting both. Let's go. I love Angela's fabric, and I was so thankful that she was able to fit me in to the fabric club. If you belong to her group on Facebook, which if I remember, I will link it below, she will let you know when there are spots open. Love her fabric. Absolutely love it. Okay. Let's talk Velky Pataki for a second. So, remember I did the comparison the other day for the stands. Someone commented, and it had me going to their website. She says, yeah, I think they improved the clamp. And I'm like, you mean a different stand? They have more than the stand that I bought. So I am going to show you. I would love to buy one, but Bill would probably literally kill me. The holder that I have is called the desktop stand for a mini hoop. They have a desktop stand, but it's $440. Are you fucking kidding me right now? So let me try to show you a picture. See how the bottom is different? Like you can adjust. My thing was I couldn't adjust the clamp up top. And there's another one because I looked at a video. Wait a minute. Is that M3? Yeah, that's the M3 one. And I almost wish I would have gotten a green one. I absolutely love the green one. Okay, they have a floor stand where it's more adjustable. I'm at hoop holders for M1. I wish I would have gotten this one. This one was $285, and I think there's a Flosstuber that does have this one. You can't purchase, or at least I can't, you can't purchase any of their stands. But I want to show you, see how it has that box on the bottom? You can put like scissors and stuff in it. But see how the neck comes way out so the hoop isn't touching the rest of it? I would have really loved that, I think. If I would have really looked more, I probably would have bought this one instead of the other one I have. I will use the other one because I do love it, but I really love this one. Yeah, I love that green too. It reminds me of like when homes had like avocado green kitchen cabinets and stuff. But yeah, they have some different ones because look, there's even a video. I mean, look at the picture. Look at the picture of it right there. You can see how you can tilt up, you can adjust the, which is what I'd wanted to be able to do. So I'm really sorry that I didn't buy this one, but I'm happy with what I have. I love the Dubco that I have, and I may someday get that one. And if I do, I probably would sell the other one. And what I would probably do too, yeah, I just tried to check out to see. You can't even like order anything from them, probably because of what's going on, I'm guessing. But hopefully someday. Or maybe they're trying to catch up on their orders. Okay. I'm going into... Let's do a true crime story. I don't care that this video is already half hour long. Let's go. All right, so today's story, Jennifer Hyatte. We're going to do a true crime story, and then we are going to do a motivational story to kind of have a brain cleanser, right? If the road to hell is paved with good intentions, then the mortar holding those paving stones together must surely be bad decisions. Ooh, that's a good one. That is a good one. That was certainly the case with Jennifer Hyatte. A native of Utah, she was the product of a broken home, a little girl who had suffered sexual abuse at the hands of someone in her father's new family, a child who found solace in her love of animals. She was particularly fond of the horses kept on her aunt's farm, and developed a strong bond with one of them, a retired racehorse named Weaver. Yet even that close bond would prove a source of heartache. One day, Jennifer arrived at the farm to find Weaver gone. Her aunt had sold him. Oh boy. Jennifer, who was 15 at the time, was devastated. Seeking solace, she turned to alcohol, then drugs, and then to a man 10 years her senior. Wow, 15 and a 25-year-old. That's a huge difference at that age. She began sneaking out at night, stealing her mother's car, drinking, drugging, and partying. By the time she was in her senior year, she was dating the man who would become her first husband, a lowlife who she caught cheating on her the night before the wedding. The fuck? No. Despite this, she went ahead with the ceremony. She was, after all, 3 months pregnant with the man's child. Fuck! No! No. The marriage was unsurprisingly not a happy one, punctuated by frequent arguments, infidelity, and substance abuse. In 1996, Jennifer tried cocaine for the first time and was immediately hooked. Wow. Thereafter, her husband would rent her out to finance their drug habit. No! Jesus. Over the next 3 years, as Jennifer birthed 2 more children, her husband set up a meth lab in their basement, an enterprise that brought him to the attention of law enforcement. Wow, they are just some bang up. What the fuck, dude? He was eventually sent to prison on a DUI, his 4th such offense, and at the time of his arrest, his children were in the car with him. That's fantastic. That brings back memories of when my brother and I were kids. My stepfather was a raging alcoholic. There were many, many times he drove drunk, drove under the influence with us in the car. I don't know how we never got pulled over or were never in a car accident when I really think back about that. I remember him hitting the curb one time and it would like scared us. I mean, we were kids. We didn't say anything, right? He would drink a 12-pack of beer every single night, at least. Anyway. With her husband in prison, Jennifer seized the opportunity to escape her situation and filed for divorce. Soon after, she began dating someone of a more agreeable disposition, and in 1999, she was married for a second time. But like many women with her temperament, Jennifer soon got tired of her stable domestic situation. Her new husband was sweet but boring. You know what? That bothers me, I think, more than anything in this whole story thus far. I will take my simple life with Bill watching TV at night any day over havoc and drama and bullshit. Women, it bugs me so much. Like, what do you expect? When you're an adult, if you're a normal, responsible adult, in my opinion, you're raising children, you're going to work, you're having dinner, you're going out on date nights, you may go on a vacation or two. Who is living normal? I'm not talking about celebrities. Who is living this excitable lifestyle every single day? You're not doing it. It's not happening. No. No, you love your partner, and God, I fucking hate that. I fired up about that. Looking for excitement, she began sleeping with one of his friends, a man named Travis. Yay! Good for Jennifer. No! No. Hussy. With a capital H. Then she started cheating on Travis with another acquaintance. Jesus fucking Christ. Like, how about keeping it in your pants, Jennifer? When her husband eventually found out about these indiscretions, he walked out on her. Thank God. Thank God. So at around this time, mid-2001, a friend invited Jennifer to spend some time in Nashville, Tennessee. Keen on the idea, Jennifer dropped off her kids with their grandmother and hit the road for Music City, USA. She immediately fell in love with the place and resolved to move there. September 2001, she loaded up her children and her possessions and headed east, setting up home in Big Sandy, Tennessee. There she found employment at Northwest Correctional Complex in nearby Tiptonville, working as a nurse. I have to give her credit, though, for just picking up and moving across the state. When I think about moving and packing up this house, it just makes me ill. Like, moving is a fucking giant pain in the ass. Before I was with Bill, and I dated somebody else for 6 years before I was with Bill. That's a story for another day. I can tell that story very quickly. I had separated from my husband, met this guy through another guy, really liked him, but we were just friends. And then we went out on a date, though, months later. He lived in Hagerstown. I lived here. I wound up, so we dated for a year, long distance like that. It was about we were 2 hours apart. I wound up, because I can live anywhere with my job. I just need internet. I wound up moving to Hagerstown to be closer to him. We didn't move in together. For another year goes by. I'm in an apartment. He's living with his dad still. He finally gets an apartment in the same complex as me. Everything's still going good. We got along very well. I mean, we were together for 6 years, so you would think. So then we decided to move in together. I moved in those 6 years like 6 times. It was insane how much I moved. We lived in an apartment, then we lived in a townhouse, and he worked on commission and couldn't pay. We split the bills down the middle. We had separate bank accounts. We didn't combine anything. He wasn't making enough at his job. So, and I was footing like 80% of the bills, and I got sick of doing that. So we finally moved into our final apartment before we split up. And it was a 3-story house that had been converted into 3 apartments, and we lived on the top floor. And we had gotten a dog. Dog was cute as a button, named Brawny. Yeah. We got the dog from a shelter. So we're together. And he was always searching for something more. Always wanted, was never satisfied, changed jobs a bunch of times, just never happy. I'm not saying if you're content, it's like death. I feel like if you're constantly always striving for something, you're never going to have peace in your life, right? So we finally just got to a point where he couldn't pay his half of the rent, and I was like, I'm not paying all the rent. So we're either finding something else that's cheaper, or the landlord's going to have to cut our rent. And our landlord did not want us to leave. He actually cut our rent in half. Yep, because he didn't want us to leave. Well, we wound up splitting up like 3 months after that because things just got so contentious. And you just finally get to a point where I was what, 34, 35 years old? I can't do this. I can't do this with you. Oh, I think the final straw was that his dad lived down the street from us, literally like 10 houses down the street. He was like, I want to move back in with him. And I said, I am not moving in with your dad in an old rundown Victorian house. That's not fucking happening. And yeah, he wasn't happy. I wasn't happy. So we decided to split. And the kicker, okay, I'm packing up my stuff and I had to move something, and something falls off the top of the closet. And I'm like, what the hell is this? It was like this long rose, but it had like a box on the top. I look in there, there's an engagement ring. Huh. I was never proposed to, so what the fuck is that for? So I called him at work and I'm like, I'm not snooping through your things, but I just found this ring. Can you explain this? And he like busted out crying. And I'm like, what is your problem? Because by this time I was just over it. Although we lived together another month after we split up because I was traipsing. I was trying to find an apartment back in my hometown. So I'm traipsing every weekend to fucking Pasadena to try to find an apartment. My mom helped me. My mom was an integral part at that time in helping me find an apartment. And so he explains that my mom sold jewelry for a time. He bought a ring from her, which by the way, he never paid her for. Bought a ring from her, and had the intention to propose to me, but just never thought it was the right time. You want to talk about feeling like crap, right? And I was just like, wow, you never thought that I was good enough to propose to. Okay, well, it's a good thing we're fucking breaking up then, right? So he actually gave me the ring back and said, give it back to your mom because I never paid her. My mom's like, That was like 2 years ago when he had that. What? I was like, she goes, sell it. Sell it, take the money. I bought like a vacuum cleaner. I bought a whole bunch of stuff for my new apartment. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah. I've got some fucking stories about guys. Oh, yes. Anyway, that was a huge tangent. Okay. So Jennifer's in Tennessee now. She's got a new job. Jennifer's work at the prison. Oh, it was a prison. Correctional, yes. Took her into the cell blocks where she usually faced a barrage of abuse from the inmates. Although they were locked up in their cells when she passed, there would be catcalls and lewd suggestions. I can imagine. Some of the prisoners even exposed themselves to her. Nasty. No. Don't want to see the good china or the nasty china, whatever. When she complained about this to a guard, he came up with a novel suggestion. He arranged for her to be escorted on her rounds by one of the most feared inmates, a violent, habitual offender named George Hyatte, currently doing a 30-year stretch for armed robbery. Jesus Christ, her last name is Hyatte in the beginning of the story, so we know what happens. Hyatte was a man of many criminal talents. He was also a skilled escape artist, having slipped away from police custody 5 times over the past decade. Have you guys ever watched, did you watch Prison Break when it was on Fox? So good. If you haven't seen that show, highly recommend. It's usually like on Netflix or Amazon. You can find it somewhere. Very good. To Jennifer, though, he was nothing but a gentleman. Before long, she had fallen for him, and the two of them were sneaking into dark corners for unofficial conjugal visits. Holy fucking God. Jennifer also began smuggling contraband into the prison for her new beau, especially the fast food that he so loved. It was for this offense that she was eventually fired. Jesus! What? Can we not? Can we not? But Jennifer was not going to let this minor setback stand in the way of true love. Jennifer. She continued to communicate with Hyatte via a cell phone that she had snuck in for him. She also visited as often as she could. When he asked her during one of those visits to marry him, she immediately said yes. 1 month after she was dismissed from Northwest Correctional Complex, she became the wife of one of its long-term inmates. Can you imagine what the people in there thought about that? Her co-workers. In George Hyatte, Jennifer firmly believed that she had found the love of her life. Their marriage, she knew, would not be a conventional one, not with George behind bars for the next 3 decades. Oh, snap. But George had a plan for that. The 5-time escapee was planning on making it a half dozen, so he was planning on escaping prison once again. Okay, one of the best stories of a prison break too, The Count of Monte Cristo. If you have not seen that movie with Jim Caviezel, is that his name? So good. Love that movie too. That one ranks up there along with Shawshank Redemption and The Hurricane too. Count of Monte Cristo. Based on a book by Alexander Dumas, by the way. Okay. He had a court appearance coming up and saw that as the ideal opportunity. He would need outside help to pull it off, and he knew just the person to call on. When he floated the idea to Jennifer during a phone conversation, she gave it hardly a thought before agreeing to help. But of course, right? In fact, she seemed excited at the prospect of participating in a jailbreak. You know, I've come to the conclusion that there are just some people that thrive on the chaos, the drama. I don't have the energy for that. No. The date chosen for the breakout was August 9th, 2005, when George was due to appear at the Roane, is that R-O-A-N-E? Or Roane County Courthouse to answer a charge of burglary. The plan was simple. Jennifer was to park her car outside the court building and wait until George's hearing was over. Then, as the guards brought him out, she was to spring from the vehicle holding a gun. If she did it right, George assured her she would get the drop on the guards. They were family men who would not do anything stupid. They would hand George over without a fight. Okay. That was the plan, and it worked up to a point. When Jennifer saw George being led in shackles down the courthouse steps, she got out of her blue Ford Explorer and crossed the road. Guards Wayne Morgan and Larry Harris were loading George into the Tennessee Department of Correction transport van when Harris spotted Jennifer approaching and shouted a warning to his partner. Morgan, perhaps sensing Jennifer's nervousness, tried to persuade her to hand over her weapon. He was reaching for the gun when George Hyatte shouted out, "Shoot him," and Jennifer pulled the trigger. Jesus. Morgan, a 29-year veteran prison officer, was hit in the abdomen and collapsed to the tarmac. Then followed a blur of action straight out of a Hollywood movie. George and Jennifer sprinted for their vehicle with bullets fired by Larry Harris whizzing around them. Jennifer was hit in the right hip but returned fire, hitting Harris in the arm. Then she and George were in their car, burning rubber as they peeled away from the curb. Harris still shooting, firing after them. As they disappeared into the distance, the corrections officer looked down at his stricken partner, a large bloom of red staining his uniform shirt. He then turned and ran back into the courthouse to call for help. Wayne Morgan was airlifted to the University of Tennessee Medical Center in Knoxville, but he didn't make it. The fugitive couple, meanwhile, had driven to a nearby mall where Jennifer had another vehicle waiting, a gold Chevrolet Venture. Abandoning the Explorer, they drove away with Jennifer at the wheel despite her injury. That night, they spent that night at an Econo Lodge in Erlanger, Kentucky. The following morning, they called a cab and asked to be driven to Columbus, Ohio, a journey of around 120 miles. They told the driver, Mike Wagers, that they were due to attend an Amway convention there. Amway is an MLM, by the way. But the cover story was a mistake. The driver had ferried Amway delegates before, and these two did not look the type. His suspicions aroused, Wagers returned to Kentucky, where he saw a news item on the prison break and recognized the fares he had dropped at an America's Best Value Inn in Columbus, Ohio. So he immediately called the police, and within hours, the Hyattes found themselves surrounded in their motel room by U.S. Marshals supported by a SWAT team. They surrendered without a fight. They had been at large for a mere 36 hours. To George Hyatte, his arrest and extradition were run-of-the-mill stuff. He had been down this road before, but to Jennifer, you would think it must have been pretty terrifying, especially when prosecutors announced they would be seeking the death penalty. Facing the threat of execution, she quickly cracked and asked for a deal, a guilty plea plus her testimony against her husband in exchange for life in prison. Oh no. The prosecutor was happy to accept. As it turned out, Jennifer would never have to take the stand against the man she claimed was the love of her life. George was no more keen on the needle than she was. He soon buckled, agreeing to plead guilty if the death penalty was off the table, and he too was sentenced to life without parole. And so Jennifer Hyatte, the girl who loved horses, was sent off to spend the rest of her days behind bars. At her trial, she had made an impassioned apology to her victim's family, especially the two children that her actions had orphaned. Privately, her behavior was less remorseful. She had once told a family member that she would do it all again, given the chance. She also said that the 36 hours she had spent on the run with George were the best time of her life. Meanwhile, her own children are now being taken care of by someone. Like, I can't. We're going to be doing some cold cases the next time. Cold cases solved the next time I do a true crime, because that was like the last story in that book. But okay, let's please do a motivational story to cleanse our brain from that. Okay, so this one is called Seeking Happiness. This story is about a beautiful, expensively dressed lady who complained to her psychiatrist that she felt that her whole life was empty, it had no meaning. So the lady went to visit a counselor to seek out happiness. Ugh, you can't seek it out. You have to just let it come to you, right? Yeah. The counselor called over the old lady who cleaned the office floors and then said to the rich lady, "I am going to ask Mary here to tell you how she found happiness. All I want you to do is listen to her." So the old lady put down her broom, sat on a chair, and told her story. "Well, my husband died of malaria, and 3 months later, my only son was killed by a car. I had nobody. I had nothing left. I couldn't sleep. I couldn't eat. I never smiled at anyone. I even thought of taking my own life. Then one evening, a little kitten followed me home from work. Somehow I felt sorry for that kitten. It was cold outside, so I decided to let the kitten in. I got it some milk, and the kitten licked the plate clean. Then it purred and rubbed against my leg, and for the first time in months, I smiled. Then I stopped to think. If helping a little kitten could make me smile, maybe doing something for people could make me happy. So the next day, I baked some biscuits and took them to a neighbor who was sick in bed. Every day, I tried to do something nice for someone. It made me so happy to see them happy. Today, I don't know of anybody who sleeps and eats better than I do. I have found happiness by giving it to others. When she heard that, the rich lady cried. She had everything that money could buy, but she had lost the things which money cannot buy. The beauty of life does not depend on how happy you are, but on how happy others can be because of you. Happiness is not a destination, it's a journey. Happiness is not tomorrow, it is right now. Happiness is not a dependency, it is a decision. Happiness is what you are, not what you have. I love that. I think way too much people think that money can buy happiness. It can make things a lot easier in your life. Let's put it that way. But a lot of money also comes with a lot of trouble. I love that though. Okay. So let's do the Unfuck Ourselves entry from yesterday. So you're going to get a double rip today. You change your life by doing, not by thinking about doing. Love that. Yeah, I'm going to keep this one because if I ever do a cross stitch that says, I bought a pattern from Primrose Cottage Stitches about being kind, I'm going to keep that. Okay, and then today's. There's no such thing as a procrastinator. It doesn't exist. It's a descriptive term, a category. There is only someone who procrastinates from time to time and with certain things. We all poop from time to time too, but you don't refer to yourself as a pooper, do you? That's hilarious. Yeah, I think, we put labels on ourselves if we do something once. No, I'm not, no. Mm-mm. Now, my boss procrastinates a lot on things. Yeah. That's why I try to get up. Like I said, no more laying in bed. I try to get up and just get my day started. Because if I get up and I make my bed and I get dressed and I get started, then the momentum is there and I can carry out the things I need to do during the rest of the day. Because when I'm off work, Bill gets home, like I said, 3:10, 3:20. I really try to maximize those hours before he comes home. Because unless he's got something to do, I'm usually doing something with him, talking to him, you know what I mean? But yeah. But okay, so I hope you guys enjoyed this extra long video. My God, it's like 53 minutes. As always, if you have any questions, please leave them in the comments section below, and I will answer them to the best of my ability. Thank you so much for spending some of your time with me today, and I will see you in my next video. Bye, guys.